And is it still alive, the initiative, or like all regional initiatives around? Andrea is my cultural attaché in embassy and also my wife. No? But you knew that she works in the embassy. That you know. We discussed this also last week in Germany about you remember? It's permitted to work together in the same embassy. You know, because we discussed about this. And Sabrina and Luigi. Exactly. Maybe, yeah. If you allow it, okay. Then it's difficult. Then we also don't do it. I mean, at least it's bigger than the media. Yes, establishment. Yeah,
Lepo pozdravljeni. Dovolite mi, da seveda vas najprej nagovorim v slovenščini, kajti Vilenica je mednarodni festival, ampak z trdno bazo v Krasu oziroma jami Vilenica. Dobrodošli na svečani otvoritvi festivala Vilenica, ki letos poteka že 39-tič, kar pomeni, da naslednje leto praznujemo častitljivo obletnico 40 let obstoja tega srednjeevropskega mednarodnega festivala, ki se je zapisal v zgodovino nenazadnje tudi s tem, da je gostil ogromno avtorjev, ki so pozneje prejeli še pomembnejšo, recimo temu, nagrado, Nobelovo nagrado za književnost. And now I will, še preden začnem v angleščini, mogoče za vse tiste, ki ste šele zdaj ugotovili, da bo pogovor potekal v angleščini, da bomo skratka uporabili mednarodni jezik, pa niste najbolj suvereni v angleščini, vas seveda pozivam, da če niste opazili, pri vhodu so slušalke, da boste imeli, se pravi, tolmačenje za vse tiste, ki vam angleščina ne leži najbolje, pa tudi tiste, ki bi si želeli nenazadnje poslušati pogovor v slovenščini, v prevodu. Lepo prosim, naj vas ne bo sram tukaj skratka pri vhodu, takoj za stebrom, vi ne vidite, jaz vidim, skratka, lahko vzamete slušalke. Yes, also, of course, for all our international guests, welcome to the Vilenica Festival. I will continue to speak in English now because this is the international festival, and I'm continuing to back off from this slide because I cannot see you. Okay. This year, Vilenica Festival is in its 39th year, which means that the next year we will be celebrating the 40th Vilenica Festival, and this is one of the, I think, the most important festivals in this part of Europe, and one of those festivals that kind of predicts the future, because it sometimes the winner of the Vilenica Award is a couple of years later a winner of Nobel Prize in Literature. So Milenko, I think that you're somewhere, oh, you're there. Beware. But also, if we are serious for a little bit, I also think that this year's Vilenica, or this next 3-4 years of Vilenica, will be also kind of looking into the future, because the title is The Brave New World, and this year's at today's roundtable we will be talking about AI in literature, or AI in book business. And I think that this is a very important theme to be opened and not to panic about. I will try to not give you a reason to panic, but I cannot vouch for my guests. So I hope that you will realize that this is not something to be afraid of, but it's something to be, of course, to talk about, to discuss about, and to see if there are some questions that we can still answer, or some problems that we can address before they arise, because I think that this discussion is maybe a little already too late. But I said I'm not going to be apocalyptic about it. So first of all, I will welcome to the stage the presentation for SEP Award of this year. And okay, so I think that Nina Kodelia, I saw you. Oh, you're in the first row, of course. So I will welcome Nina Kodelia to the stage to say some words about the SEP Award and to present this year's recipient of the SEP Award. Please. Yeah.
Good večer tudi z moje strani. Good evening also from my side. I'm very happy to be here on behalf of the Central European Initiative, which is a regional organization based in Trieste, so very close from here. And Vilenica will be meeting in Trieste as well tomorrow, no? Tomorrow, I think so. I'm very happy to be here, and this is, let's say, we're partners in crime now for many years with the Slovene Writers Association, and we are very proud to be part of this festival. It's very dear to the Central European Initiative's heart. And we're also very happy to give the award for outstanding young writers, which first is a recognition to the young writers, but it's also means a translation of contemporary literary works and their circulation in our region. And we really particularly believe that in this time of times of uncertainty and tensions and conflict, the promotion of dialogue, mutual understanding, and listening to each other is key, and this is also part of the mission of this regional organization. And we really, this was an initiative that started a couple of years ago, about translating literary works in the other languages of the Central European Initiative region. Before we were, let's say, helping out with some summer schools and so on, but we thought it was really something nice that stays on, also because it really connects people from different culture, and also to amplify their voices, the voices of young writers, which often and very, very often raise awareness of significant challenges of the society and issues that we're all faced with. So I'm really glad to be here for the Central European Initiative Award for Young Writers 2024. We'll see in a short while the winner of this award. Her name is Monica Herzeg, and I'm really impressed seeing at how much she's been doing and is doing. She's a poet, a screenwriter, an editor, a gender equality activist, and she's already received many significant awards, so we're really happy that the Central European Initiative is also part of the whole awards that she received, and we hope it will bring her good luck and further encourage her work. You know, we heard about Nobel Prizes before, who knows? So I will stop here, and once again, just on a personal note, this is my last being here as a Central European Initiative, so I'm really happy also for the last couple of years that I was able to present this award. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I would now like to invite Jasko Bruniker to the stage so he can read the jury's decision, and of course, if the Monika Herceg can come to the stage too, that she can then follow with some words.
Dobro večer tudi v mojem imenu in v imenu Vileniške žirije za srednjeevropsko nagrado. Good evening also in my name and the name of Vilenica jury. I will read like a really short justification for the Central European Initiative Award, which is awarded this year to amazing Monika. I'm really personally so overwhelmed that she won it. Anyhow, Monika Herceg is one of the most prominent and recognizable voices in contemporary Croatian literature. A poet, playwright, writer and activist, she enthralled readers and critics alike already with her debut poetry collection Početne koordinate, a book which distinguishes itself through its profound exploration of personal and collective memory, trauma, and indirect dance between history and identity. Her first collection, which was structured around the cyclical nature of seasons and which deftly combines magical realism with rawness of reality, was followed by the collection Lovostaj and Vrijeme prije jezika, each of which evinces lyrical intensity and emotional depth. Whereas the former collection delves into the themes of healing and overcoming trauma, and it stems by the strong social engagement through which Herceg addresses such critical social issues as I had COVID like last week, I'm still struggling a bit. Emancipation, femicide, and violence against women. Vrijeme jezika probes the pre-linguistic essence of human existence and uncovering of the fundamental nature of communication and understanding, with focus on how language, memory, and identity intersect. Herceg's profound reflection of human consciousness and the state of the world today, her dismantling of heteronormative dominance, her introduction of thematical and formatively fresh perspective within poetics, along with her social stature, have won her several important Croatian and international awards. Above all, she has won herself a wide readership that appreciate both the lyrical beauty and the raw depiction of social anomalies, the condition of marginalized communities portrayed in her poetics, where the written world resonates deeply on both a personal and collective level, connecting past and present human experiences. It should be emphasized that Monika Herceg literature is made richer by her role as a social activist and the significant impact on public discourse and the social changes she has had. Without compromise and with great commitment, she enriches the literary space of Central Europe and beyond, building an important bridge between the different layers of human experience and making her work universally accessible and highly relevant for our times. The Central European Initiative Prize is therefore a recognition of her exceptional talent and encouragement for her to continue her commitment to literature and to broader social shifts that inform her literary and social work. So Monika, congratulations.
I need someone to the speech.
wait just a little bit for Monica to prepare. Monica is then joining us for the discussion, so don't run away.
But I don't know yet, am I reading the speech I sent you?
No, not the speech, just a few words, yeah.
Okay, so thank you, I don't see you because of the light.
Sorry, the backstage reminds me that yes, you're reading the speech you prepared, yeah, sorry. Thank you. I got confused a little bit for a moment, sorry.
So did I.
Yeah.
Now to find this will be another thing, but we'll see. I knew that I should have printed this, but I'm so sorry that you wait. Okay.
I would say that in the meantime I could sing you a little bit, but I will not punish you with that, so probably, Aljaž, you could get ready and present the diploma or something, or just wait with the diploma in your hands because you ran off from the stage too early. Yeah, the diploma is behind there, so yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry, I see everything and I just forget that you don't. So.
I forgot to ask, will the speech will be printed? I kind of assume things that people should not assume.
Okay.
Now, and I can't find it, that's also the good thing. Maybe I can talk, to make you also kind of, what would be the word, amused while I try to look for my speech, which is not that short, so I'm taking my time, but I don't... Thank you! Ali treba biti, nisu mi poslali, tako je. Hvala Miljenko, Miljenko je pročitao govor. Ja imam sreću da Miljenko i Ani šaljem većinu stvari koje pišem, pa barem dobijem feedback. Pa ćemo da li smijem van s tim ili ne, ali evo, dok se nisam još dublje zakopala, bolje da krenem čitati. Ukorijenjenost je možda najvažnija i najneshvaćenija potreba duše, piše Simone Weil u Slobodi i tlačenju. Ako dođe do iskorijenjenosti, smatra Weil, događa se ili obamrlost ljudskog bića i zajednice, oduzimanje njegove ljudskosti njemu samome, ili se dogodi da takvi pojedinci počnu sami iskorjenjivati pojedince i zajednice. Uistinu, iza nas je stoljeće totalitarizama. Nemoguće o ljudskom biću pisati izvan konteksta svijeta, kao što je u svijetu nemoguće nešto reći izvan konteksta ljudske patnje, dužnosti ili nužnosti sućuti. Sućut, suosjećanje, supatnja. Weil vjeruje da je bez toga nemoguće stvoriti društvo koje će napredovati. Gdje danas, 2024. pronaći mjesto s kojeg ćemo moći sanjati takvo društvo? Gdje je to mjesto na kojem do nas može doprijeti to svjetlo? Zaborav je trajno ljudsko stanje, poput tijela koja se gibaju prema Newtonovom zakonu, kada na njih djeluje sila, pravocrtno, tako su i naše sudbine u stalnom djelovanju zaborava, našeg individualnog, ali i kolektivnog. Kako onda sačuvati sjećanje? Kako ustrajati na kulturi sjećanja koja je danas više nego ikada bitna, kako i za Srednju Europu, tako i za Europu samu? Kada govorimo o zaboravu, bitno je reći nešto i o tome kako pamtimo. Istraživanja pokazuju da pamtimo priče, ne činjenice. Također, kada mozak opteretimo različitim stimulacijama, stresorima, pokazuje se da smo potpuno indiferentni na činjenice, ali kada je riječ o pričama, naša sposobnost rasuđivanja ostaje netaknuta, unatoč smanjenim emocionalnim ili intelektualnim kapacitetima. Pričama simuliramo i razumijemo osobna, a potom i kolektivna iskustva koja nismo nužno prošli. Činjenice mogu biti okvir, one mogu biti gradivni elementi kuće, ali suštinski ćemo pamtiti priču i od priče ćemo graditi dom. Danas je više nego ikada bitno da se sjećamo, da pamtimo priče sustava koje su doveli čovječanstvo do ponora, da pamtimo holokaust, da pamtimo zločine staljinizma, da pamtimo svaki genocid i svaku nevinu žrtvu. I to pamćenje možemo stvarati pričama kao što možemo stvoriti nanovo neki prostor sigurnosti i podrške, kao što možemo sanjati svijet u kojem ćemo znati supatiti. Turistički obilasci masovnih grobnica ili praćenje Instagram priča o genocidu često nas neće ni potresti ni promijeniti, ali osobne priče oni koji su prošli pakao hoće. Sve brojke Srebrenice neće nas toliko potresti kao priča o dječaku kojem ne daju popiti vode prije nego će ga osuditi na smrt, kojem ne daju čak ni da usred tog srpanjskog zvizdana malo ovlaži usta. Čujem tog dječaka neprestano pred krvnicima kako naivno i nevino samo traži malo vode. Kada je ove godine u UN-u izglasana rezolucija o srebreničkom genocidu, treba reći da je bilo suzdržano 68 glasova, da ih je protiv bilo 19, a za 84. Ako ostajemo i dalje suzdržani oko genocida jednog naroda, onoga koji se dogodio ili onoga koji se događa sada, ako smo protiv osude ubojstava, ako nismo protiv osude ubojstava nevinih, jesmo li išta naučili? Ako se glas fašizma ponovno javlja, a mi pognemo glavu i šutimo, jesmo li išta naučili? I možda još bitnije pitanje, zašto smo naučili krive lekcije? Jesmo li tražeći preuzimanje krivnje i odgovornosti to učinili na potpuno krivi način? Jesmo li kao kada odgajamo djecu šibama i batinama samo prouzročili duboko neshvaćanje odgovornosti i uzrokovali time veću štetu nego smo mogli zamisliti? To je veliko pitanje današnjice, kako pojedince, a potom i zajednicu odgojiti da pamti, da prihvaća odgovornost i krivnju i da uči na greškama. Kako se istovremeno odmaknuti od vječne uloge žrtve koja nam nerijetko daje opravdanje i za naše vlastito nasilje. I kako, ako smo bili krvnici, tu krivnju nositi ne kroz sram ili zbog straha, jer već duboko možemo suosjećati s onima koji su patili. Književnost koja se ne povinuje modama vremena, već ustraje nepokolebljivo na onome što bismo mogli nazvati dubokom kulturom, za mene je dio odgovora na to pitanje. Zato želim da danas mislimo o nužnosti tog korijena, nužnosti zajednice koja djeluje po principu nježnosti i suosjećanja i tako uči o nužnosti priča, o nužnosti prisvajanja narativa. Da vjerujemo u duboku kulturu, da se ne okrećemo za pomodnim instant rješenjima, da činjenicu da je naša sadašnjost iznevjerila ideje o budućnosti ne pretvorimo u razlog za stagnaciju, ljutnju, već da nanovo ustrajemo. Ako ćemo sanjati novu Europu, što duboko vjerujem da je moguće, moramo prihvatiti odgovornost, naučiti se nositi s krivnjom. Moramo početi graditi dom vjerujući u ukorijenjenost, kulturu sjećanja i suosjećanje, zajedništvo. I graditi most svakim našim korakom, vjerujući u susret s drugim, kojeg ćemo prihvatiti lišeni svih predrasuda. Hvala.
I will now ask Aljaž and Nina to present the diploma and to get the picture together, of course.
Together. Okay. I was wondering where the diploma is here before.
Thank you. Now, pictures are taken, yes?
Yes?
Yes.
You always make me cry with your speeches.
Thank you very much. Monica will now stay and take her place wherever you want. So now for the discussion, I will also invite on the stage interactive artist Vuk Ćosić. The researcher from the Laboratory for Artificial Intelligence by Institute of Josef Stefan Simon Krek. Slovenian author in Focus Dušan Šarotak. And the translator and philosopher Jernej Županić. I will try to see all of you and sit from the side. So for this year's Vilenica, we wanted to tackle AI because there was a big events happening all over the world. If you know why this year and for the next year we are getting like not so good TV series and not so good movies because there was a big strike of American actors and scriptwriters who demanded for AI not to be involved in their work or to be just to be somehow controlled. And European Union is also trying to control AI, the development of the AI to control actually copyright infringement and to control all these events and technology that is happening that we don't really know or think enough, I think. So for this year's discussion, we decided to try to tackle that. And like I said, we are not trying to be apocalyptic, we're not trying to be against AI, but try to figure it out. So for the first question, so we will try to tackle on this discussion roundtable authorship and intellectual property, the ontological nature of AI, art and literature, and also the impact that the AI has on creative industry or the future of literature and humanities. And for the beginning, I will ask Mr. Simon Craig, because he is from the Institute. He works with the AI to maybe, we talked a little bit before this discussion, and I used AI as artificial intelligence, and you said that you are already against it being called artificial intelligence. And maybe for the beginning, why or how do you think that we can describe this thing that we now call artificial intelligence, and through your words, it still isn't artificial intelligence?
Okay, thanks for the invitation. First, I think I have to explain one thing. So, in this context, I work at Joris Stefan Institute, but basically I'm a linguist. And I started to work as an editor in the publishing house called DZS. And then I kind of drifted into language technology over the years. My answer will be perhaps not from the purely technical side, but as someone who actually now at this moment coordinates a project which is supposed to produce a Slovenian large language model. And what we have to do now, this is one of the tasks, is collect as much as possible of Slovenian texts.
Yeah.
Possibly also your texts. Yeah, but if I go back to the question about artificial intelligence, so I think it's good to know that the technology that is used now for producing these large language models is around for a long time. It's from the 80s. And two things happened in the meantime. So first, we got the web or the internet, which means that we can have access to really big, large amounts of text. And the second one is the fact that only in recent years, high-performance computers were developed, which can actually use those algorithms which were developed a long time ago. And these two things produced what we now call artificial intelligence. But why I think it should not be called artificial intelligence, although this, like a concept is old, from the 50s. Because probably for something to call something intelligent, it needs to have some kind of consciousness. So to know that it is something. And this is what we have now is far from that. The concept that I like is stochastic parrot, which is something that is around for 3-4 years. Because what the machines do now basically is just repeat what they have in the model. So what you put in the model, the text, whatever, this will be produced without any, awareness of what is the output. So this is where we are now, at the moment. I'm not sure, and nobody can be sure, what will happen in the future. But for now, to call this artificial intelligence, it's a bit of a, I don't know, just a hype.
Far-fetched. Please remain with the microphone, because I have an additional question. Because at the moment when you said, you work with large language models, and now you need texts in Slovene for the model to work, right? For the, how do you call it, stochastic parrot to work. But how do you, what do you say to the Slovenian authors or to the people? Did you already start to collect these texts or not yet? What do you say to them when they're worried about, for now, like you said, it is a parrot. It's still, it works out what you put in, but in the future maybe, or there is a danger, or what we see with, I don't know, AI, let's say that it is AI that can copy the style of drawing, let's say this kind of AI that, you say to them, draw like, I don't know, whoever, illustrator, non-Slovenian illustrator, and then it will produce something similar to it. So there is, I think, that's still a danger that this machine can now produce new texts with the language of somebody. If they have enough text of Cankar, can it produce a new text written like Cankar, let's say?
Well, the answer is yes. So
okay, so this is not so reassuring, right?
Well, the thing is that it will not be Cankar. It will be AI.
Okay.
So, there is really important distinction there. Because if you think about, I don't know, the artists who copied other artists. Mm-hmm. So was it important that the picture was actually not drawn by Picasso? It looked like Picasso, so was it a copy? Is it something original or not? It's just the fact that now we are quite sure that anything that is put in the model, and it can be audio, it can be images, it can be video, it can be anything, will be reproduced. And you will be able to get out quite astonishing results. But this will not be the author in the end. Mm. So, when I started to play around with ChatGPT, one of the prompts that I put there is, can you produce the start of the lost Aristotle's work, which is in the Name of the Rose and so on. Yeah. It looked quite good, So we know that all Aristotle's work is in the model already, so all the internet is basically in these models. So it has seen really a lot of different types of text. And the question, I think, basically is, just whether to go there or not. So you can stop, you can say, well, my text will not be in the model. But the real problem is that if your text was on the internet, it's already in the model, just in the Chinese and the American one. So the only model where your text will not be is the Slovenian one or the European one. So that's the, the question which any society has to answer now.
Okay. So I think that we will probably won't answer this question, but let's start answering some questions. Vuk Ćosić, you're the interactive internet artist. We talked about that before this discussion, and I think that if you use somebody else's work or copy it or whatever, if you're an artist, a human, I think it's still different if it's done by a machine, or don't you agree? How do you find, when you work in the interactive environment, in the internet environment, how do you find where's the border when you end and the machines begin, or vice versa?
There's so many wrong ways to answer that question.
Okay,
it's insane.
Try it right.
Yeah. You remind. Yesterday we met already with Jernej and some TV camera to talk about these things, and I remember this episode in 1830s when the mechanical quill was invented. Until that time, everybody was writing strictly with goose quill, and then this new technology was developed, this new world. And the older writers were prepared to go to physical violence because they couldn't believe that there's these new kids using metal quills. Can you imagine? I mean, their poetry is going to be machinistic, divorced from the human soul. That's exactly at the time Prešeren was writing his alcoholic sonnets, sonnet with, in this Blato magazine. Yeah. The question is not how come Mozart generated his glorious stuff without a synthesizer, but what would he do with one now? And so let's get rid of that part, please, because it's boring. It's insulting for imagination. The second thing that I also find, I won't say insulting, and I appreciate your position, but it's like backwards, man, is it's not about the product. It's not how to generate a text that resembles some other text. That's where Turing was kind of right in between his lines in 1950 when he came up with this whole concept, write me a sonnet. No? Right? The first ever imaginary dialogue with a machine begins with words, write me a sonnet. So since then, for now 75 years, we're talking about the same thing. Or Primo Levi wrote this, what is the word? This text about a mechanical writer of literature. I forget, algorithmic something. Roald Dahl. This is 50s and early 60s. The point is not in how are we going to use this new mechanism or machine to continue working in the same way, or to have the same product done faster, so we can fire some stupid people that we hate anyway. And your problem are not, AI is not a problem for writers. The evil people are the business owners. It's a political economy. It's not about creativity. And it is about lowering our standards, and it's about like accepting a slightly worse text for some newspaper and saying, well, I'm getting this out of a machine for free, and I'm just going to easily fire these 10 stupid journalists that stink and talk all the time. I hate them, and they hate me. So back to the actual creative act. The first thing you have to do with any technology, I teach sometimes younger artists in the new media field for years now. First thing you need to do is BTFM, burn the fucking manual, as opposed to read the fucking manual. Reason being that the minute you accept to work with within the limits dictated by the engineering of the tool you're about to use, you are sacrificing the one thing that's yours, and you are becoming a testimonial for somebody else's software, hardware, infrastructure, protocols, or something like that. So it's, and just to end this little bit, I usually quote in these situations a fantastic, long dead Croatian poet, Slavko Mihalic, you might know that name, right? Who once said in an interview in the 80s, if you can live without writing poetry, don't write poetry. You see, this field of AI and the way it is crossing with, for example, poetry, this should be somehow decided also not just by vendors of equipment or by journalists, but by these poor people who cannot live without writing poetry. These precious people that we fight the wars for. This is a crowd that I'd like to hear talking. And I'd like to end with this, so I'll leave it open for you to try and make this more funny.
I will not try to make this more funny. I will leave the question to the poets that write poetry. So, for Monica and Dusan, who will start first, I'm not partial to it, so you can decide. The question is for you. How do you use? Because now we've heard. The first was the quill, then there was other machinery. We already live in an age where people write on the computers. Do you write your? Do you, Monica, write your poetry on the computer? So you can use, if you're stuck and you don't know which word to use, you can use Word's dictionary and see if there's some synonym for this word, and you can change it. Then you can easily, in the past that wasn't as easy, if you didn't like something and you throw it away, then you threw it away and it was probably lost if you just couldn't find it. Now you can copy some parts of the text into some other Word doc and then return it if you don't like it or something like that. So we already write with the machinery, with the help of machinery. Do you use computer with your writing? Do you use its knowledge, or do you still write pure human, or let's say pure without technology?
When it comes to using technology, I don't use artificial intelligence. I have to admit that I'm very poorly, even we just met, it and I started translating, for example. Maybe that's the other question that we need to talk about even more. And it seems that it is rather, a decent translator. When you need to do something fast, and it translates better than me. That's also the fact. So I will probably, not probably, but I will use it to, get faster with cover letters, with things that can actually, add some time to my time, because why should I translate my cover letter with my poor, we all talk and write some English, but it's not deep or good English as we think. So this is the part where I use it. But I think when we come to artificial intelligence as everything that is considered to be new, and as you said, world in last 100 years changed so much that the future will also be in even faster movement than we can perceive, than we can even imagine, because our development is exponential. It's not, even this to be linear, but exponentially everything is moving so fast ahead. So things that we couldn't dream 30 years ago are now becoming crazy reality. But the main question is, yes, I agree. What are we towards that? Because artificial intelligence will be developed. Maybe she's not intelligent, I prefer she. I talked to my friend, she could be she. It's not intelligent at this point, it's not self-aware, but miracles, even more, not even that we could think about, happened during this time. I studied physics, so I remember when we were, learning about quantum computing, just mentioning it at that time. So everything, even in the last 10 years, changed so fast and so like this. And algorithms it's very hard even to understand how fast do they learn and how fast do they develop. But we have to know what we think about that, how we stand in front of that. It's not about regulating something, it's about knowing what are we aware of and what do we want to use it for. I think that anything that can be used to help to make things simpler, easier as the technology does things. I don't know for how long now. That's a great thing, you know. Yes, let us, you know, make some space and some room for real creative work. But we need to know that also we are sometimes, you know, stuck in time while technology grows. And I think that that's also the problem. Are we ready for this kind of changes? We are not, you know, dealing with the time of Instagram, TikTok, and these things are even too fast for me. I'm 1990, you know, born. So, and it's moving too fast for me to understand. I have no idea about TikTok, you know, and new generations are even more engaged in everything that happens in this virtual world. Are we ready for that, and how can we become ready? I think that that's the main question. And as it comes for writing, yes, I think that there is no reproduction that is important as any original. So I'm not concerned about future of, you know, writing or our creative work, but we should talk about how not to misuse it and to make political engagement, cultural political engagement, be more critical about it. And yes, not this to have to happen, that someone will be without a job because artificial intelligence will do it. We have to raise the question, as you said, of quality too, and about when we are dealing with culture, we should deal with really deep culture, not to stay on the surface. This time it's too fast, so we are all the time on the surface. We somehow think that being on the surface is okay because we are one click away from any possible knowledge today. So really you can, you know, probably find in 1 second anything you want to know about quantum mechanics. But the problem is you will not understand it. It takes years to understand quantum mechanics. It takes education. So it's not about knowing instantly, it's about knowing deeply. And it goes for culture, for physics, for literature, for everything. And we need to set these standards, again, to be high. And then if they are high, these tools can only help us. Why should not someone, you know, work some things that I really don't want to deal with, some applications, some, you know, work that is not creative. I'm very happy to give this to something to make me faster, as my computer does. Yes, I use my computer. Do I have to find another synonym when I'm editing? Yes, I go on the internet, in the base, I look for the synonyms. I look for other ways to describe something. So I help myself all the time, already. So yes, we are in this world using everything we have. So in my ward, you know, I'm using a lot of tools that are already there. So I think that we need to really rethink about that, and that is this translation part, which is very important because I think it's more endangered now because translations made by artificial intelligence are already reality. Some publishing houses do that with literature that doesn't need, you know, deeper language, I suppose, knowledge. But that's very dangerous because if we lose that, what will we do with translators? And aren't we then, you know, kind of killing the language too? And because we fought for these connections between languages for so long, and we wouldn't have world literature without translations. And this is so important because it really connects us, and it really, you know, gives us the way to bridge another, you know, another culture, that we bridge each other, and that is of immense importance because we would be blind in the other possibly. Imagine, you know, writing not knowing world literature. It would be disaster. So I think that if we don't think about that, then we will, you know, lose our translators, and they are not as often to be found, especially not the good ones. Because already it started to happen with this, you know, superficiality of everything. So I think that is something, but it's also again about cultural politics. Someone needs to act upon protecting what we consider to be important. And I think that maybe, you know, are we having crisis because of politics? Yes, I suppose, yes, culture is the first thing that's very, you know, very much used for any manipulation. So maybe put us there, how to engage more properly in anything connected to culture, politics, and this artificial intelligence thing.
Okay. Dusan, are you so unconcerned about artificial intelligence as your guests, as is the other guests, or do you have some other opinion or some other things to say? So I leave it to you now.
Thank you for the question. I suppose that you know that I have some. I'm first, of course, afraid of artificial intelligence. In the same time, I'm fascinated with it. I don't know exactly nothing about it. How does it work? What is behind it? This curtain, but as the speakers before said, it is nothing, that there is no magic. That is simple large language model, but this is the point where I'm aware, because I think that this world, everything what we can see, what we can feel, or what we can touch, or what we can think or memorize, it's made by language. But this kind of language is, I still believe it's different than the language that is produced, or that is the basic of artificial intelligence. Because there is still, I think, something that is different, like artificial intelligence. It is artistic intelligence. I'm just interested in it. This is the end of this kind of artistic intelligence or poetical intelligence? Because the language is not just words or structure or grammar. In this language or in these words are also feelings, and it's also memories, it's also pains, and this language, it's not made just from, I don't know, from base from 100 or 10 years or 20 years or 5 years ago, but it is this language that we are inherit from generations to generations is 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years old. When I'm writing, or when I'm starting to write, when I write the first line, what do I do? Is it the beginning of the language? Is it invention? Or is it something that is connected with the beginning of the language? With the first word that is, I don't know, maybe it wasn't a word, maybe it was just a shout or a scream, or it's a pain, or maybe I think it was silence. And in my first contact with ChatGPT, I was fascinated. I was asked them, who are you? Who are you? Just simple question. And the answer was, I am just a computer program. And then I asked, do you know Dusan Sharotar? Because I am not so narcissized that I asked it. And the answer was very simple. Dusan Sharotar is Slovenian writer. He wrote, and everything was absolutely incorrect. The title of the novel was, but you should talk, you should work with artificial intelligence. After a month, it or she or he knows everything. It's absolutely fascinating. You can learn it. It know what is my interest, what I'd like to know. But in the same time, if you ask him, how do you speak with artificial intelligence? Are you polite? I'm always asking, please tell me, thank you. And yes, you should. And then he will talk with you like this, of course. But the next question, if you ask it, are you afraid of dying? It's very simple, everyday question that everyone would like to know the answer. I'm of course I feel a fear of that, but what do you mean? What was the answer?
No.
Yes. And does God exist? Also, I'm just a computer program. So all these final questions, or the first question that everybody from like a human like to know the answers, but of course we know that there is no answers. Artificial and intelligence don't have any answers. So I think that we still, like a human or like a poet or whatever, would like to know or to explore or to write or ask or to pray or whatever, like a human. But on the other side, I'm absolutely impressed because I know in the same time the artificial intelligence, I don't know, operate with a railway or with flights or even in hospitals. I had a friend, a doctor, and she said that during the night all the machines operate with artificial intelligence. Only if it's something crucially wrong, they make the signal. So, in the one hand, we are really in the hand of artificial intelligence, but in the same time, I know we still have to mourning, crying, laughing, whatever. So I think the answer is please preserve artificial intelligence.
Okay, I will
Artistic intelligence.
artistic intelligence. Yeah. I will now get to the Yagne because you're in the very strange position. Monica mentioned the translators as being the first actual profession to be kind of be threatened to be out of a job because of the artificial intelligence. But you also wrote a book. Is Google Translate artificial intelligence? I don't think so, but it's something, let's say, similar to that. You wrote the book, if I understand correctly, you wrote some text and then you put it through Google Translate to get some kind of variations or something different than the original text.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah, so you play with it, you use it, but also it could, in a couple of years, play with you and use you and take your job. So what is your kind of relationship with artificial intelligence?
Yeah, well, I'm actually very concerned about the future. The thing that I did with this poetry collection, it was really an exploration of glitches that occur in such applications. I was interested in the functioning of the AI translator in the sense that I wanted to see it not work properly, not work as well as a real translator. Though, I mean, I sent the text through, at the end, I think it was about 25 different languages, so I don't know if I used 25 human translators, the results probably wouldn't be much better actually. But anyway, this was focused on the interesting mistakes that the AI or whatever we want to call it makes or made about 5 years ago when I was doing this. But in the meantime, I think there's been a lot of improvement. Now, I still, in my function as a translator, I don't use machine translation because I still find it useless for my purposes. I mean, I think it's very useful for simple communication when you got an email in a language that you don't understand, you need to reply to it, okay. It helps you get the gist of what was written there, and it can help you formulate a pretty good answer. But for literary translation, it's in my opinion, far from being useful at this moment. But on the other hand, yes, I think that translation like copywriting will be one of the first professions to be really profoundly changed or perhaps extinguished by AI. Because if you look at where these large language models were 5 years ago, I mean, they were nowhere. There was, I think, GPT-2, and some people in the business knew about it, and it was sort of impressive if you were used to dealing with these things. But then we got GPT-3 and then GPT-4, and I think GPT-5 is coming out this year or perhaps next year. And if the development doesn't slow down, if everything continues along the path that it's been taking up to now, then yes, I think that I'm going to be out of a job at the latest in 10 to 20 years, certainly. But on the other hand, I mean, I'm how do you say it? I'm speaking against my own interests here, but you know, translators, we don't exist to serve ourselves. I mean, if we can get AI to create translations that are at the same level as a human translator can, or even at a higher level, then I mean that's usually how science fiction presents utopia. Like everybody understands everybody else, everybody speaking the same language, or
higher level than human.
yeah, okay, I don't know, but well, at the very least, it can work much faster. I mean, if I take, I don't know, 1 hour to translate 2 pages, it can do 100 pages in that time, or 1,000. But anyway, so let's say take Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the Pavelfish, that little fish that you put in your ear that translates everything you hear instantly. I mean, that has it's always been presented as kind of utopia, and I mean, wouldn't it be great if you could just pick a text that you aren't able to read and say, give me a translation of this, and you get it in a second or a minute. I mean, yeah, so I personally hope that this doesn't come to pass, but I guess it wouldn't be all bad.
Okay, book, you
I have to jump in
add?
briefly, because just like poetry or literature, the translation work is not just the act of getting a translation. Like writing a text is not like a category of business management of producing a text. There's a long prehistory to that gesture. We all remember this French guy who died, Raymond Queneau, this exercises in style, a beautiful text from 1947. It was translated in Yugoslav Atlantis language by Danilo Kish, in Italian by Umberto Eco. It's not incidental that it was done by these very serious human beings that were capable of high gestures. And I like to remember that particular text, this beautiful book, because it is a prehistoric gesture of something that is now completely normal with AI in visual arts, but also in text, when it's called style transfer. And you say to the stupid machine, hey, you, this is a photo of my dog, now please generate a version of it as if it were painted by Van Gogh. This is like the super classic example. So what we learn from that situation is 2 things. One is that typically the actual origination of the idea that the stupid engineers then materialized is from literature or from sci-fi very frequently. That's interesting. I'm a media archaeologist and I like these stories. And the second thing we are now learning with AI as creatives is that the minute you develop a style in your writing, in your painting, you are kind of doomed because of this already cliche sentence. Everything that is generic will be automated. So if you're a type of a writer that has developed a style and keeps insisting on a genre, for instance, you're gonna die. If you're any good, of course. because your style is going to end, your name is going to end up in a pull-down menu of choices. Like, hey, look, I got these 5 bullets of emotions, you know, all fake, of course. And please write a sonnet like Vuk would write. And, you know, I have to be careful myself now as an author to not go into developing a style. It's a fantastic paradox. I think this is what's new. And I would like to wrap this little bit just with one more thing. I talk from a position of a, you know, a slightly radical avant-gardist new media guy for decades now. So all of this is terrible for me because it's all repetitive. But there is this thing called medium-specific art. There used to be literature also in early Middle Ages, but then there was this German guy who wanted to make some money with some Bibles and shit, and he invented the printing press. Remember? He died also. And then it took us, 150 years to develop a an artistic form that would kind of follow that technology. It's called the novel. It didn't exist before, it started existing after that. So thanks to that technology and some time and some maturing, these humans kind of developed some new answer to this technology. Same happened with other media technologies. And I guess we should be looking at ChatGPT and other enemies as this type of occurrence. Like Mark Twain, the typewriter, like, I don't know, again, Primo Levi and the computer. Yeah, it's a beast, but maybe you're just too old to cope with it. Maybe some kids are going to cope with it better. So we should not be nervous about it. We should just wait to die.
Okay, I wanted to be not apocalyptic about it. Didn't you not remember? Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, I will take this for a minute, and I will thank Brida Biščak, who is translating for us. For those who cannot understand us in English, that she translates into Slovene before she is out of job, I guess. Thank you, Brida. But yes, to me that is the interesting question. Jagne, you said, of course, translating is one of the first jobs. But do you think that you as a writer could be, you know, out of a job because of the AI? Do you have a style, like Vuk said? Do you think you have a style that can be, you know, reproduced and somebody can fake? And also, do you believe that? Because I think that the primal question here is not if AI can reproduce you, but if readers won't mind that this is something reproduced. Or do you think that we are, I don't know, enough self-conscious that readers would say, no, I want the OG Jagne, I don't want this replica, I want the original Jagne, and I don't mind that he writes 1 year for 2 years, one book, I want it, I will wait and not, you know, just get a new his style book.
Yeah, I absolutely have a style. I'm old-fashioned like that. I'm not so much worried about my style in particular being reproduced. I mean, I guess that would suck, but it wouldn't be apocalyptic. What I'm more worried about is simply AI-generated writing, I think, starting with poetry and then continuing with short stories and finally ending with novels, simply becoming more and more pervasive in the literary scene without us actually noticing it. I mean, okay, right now we're nowhere near that. I mean, you can use AI to sort of help with your writing. I've been using it like that in some of my poems. Not these ones that we were talking about, but some older ones where I sort of, again, used these bad translations as a source of ideas. And well, there was the Japanese woman who, I don't know, won a Booker or something and admitted to using AI to...
For the part,
yeah. I mean, that's the stage that we were on, and I don't find it particularly problematic. But I think that eventually we'll start seeing books or poems written by AI, but sort of, published by people under their own names. And I'm concerned that we won't be able to tell them apart. I mean, I find it quite realistic, the short story by Andrei Tomazin, where there's a jury that gives out a literary award, and it turns out that the book in question was written by AI. I think that's something that could realistically happen in a couple of years. Yeah. So that's what I think is going to happen. Is going to be our problem, that we won't be able to tell these apart. I mean, if I could, I would very much like to be able to tell these apart and to read human poetry and not AI poetry. But I'm not so sure of myself. I'm not certain that I'd be able to spot the difference. I mean, now with what you can read now, yeah, sure, but just after a couple of years, I'm just not sure. I don't know. There was just recently I've been reading about the so-called Ern Malley hoax. It was a literary hoax perpetuated in Australia in the 40s, where two guys that really liked traditional poetry and hated the newfangled modernists decided to prank an editor of a leading magazine. So they just had fun and wrote some modernist poetry or a parody of modernist poetry. And the editor was thrilled about it, and it was published. And I think the magazine then folded because of some fines. And I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Are we going to be able to identify human authors from artificial intelligence? I'm not sure. At least for myself.
You wanted to add something?
Yes, just because I was wondering, there is this thing that you said about Michalic and why should you write if you don't have to? And Vilenica also had this great interview in which he said, I write because I have to. But if you will, put artificial intelligence to write for you, then you don't write. I mean, then that's the thing. I think distinction between a writer and someone who, well, why would you write if you don't have to? And that's the thing, writers are not actors in Hollywood. We don't earn that much money, and we are not worldly famous, So there's nothing there, to be so important as only this need. You write because you have to. So maybe, also there's this economical issue. Okay, maybe this will get you money, so you can write. That's exactly but you're also now, kind of all of us, I think they're dealing with the fact that you want to provide yourself time and money to get a space for writing. That's my concern mainly. So if this publishing under my name can give me a year of writing, I will probably say yes, and then I will say this was written by artificial intelligence, but because of that, here comes my real novel. Thank you. Because this will not be, I don't see how can this be opposed. Maybe it will be Monica Herzeg, artificial intelligence under, okay. But again, I will want to publish a book, being written by me, because I also write because I have this deep need of writing. I don't see how, in America maybe people are getting rich with writing, but mostly in this part of the world it doesn't happen. So that's also the difference. That's very, very big difference. So no money, maybe, I don't know, it's an interesting question, yes. And when it comes to I will now play a bit, with the artificial intelligence. I really want to see, can we distinguish, because I deeply believe in literature to be the transfer of emotion and of something much, much deeper that we sometimes can feel. I think it's like most universal language of, it's not maybe a language, maybe how to say, also something that gives us other experiences, other lives, but it's always filled with emotions. And yes, it's sometimes written, a book is not written at this moment, it's been written entire life sometimes, because we collect, we try to put a lot of ourselves that were sometimes 10 years ago, sometimes 5 years ago. It's all, part of the story. So somehow I'm still, in this side that I don't know. I strongly believe that it is a bit of, magical, because when you read and you get emotions, you start to cry, you can feel everything. I think that's the only magic I know that exists. So, and I'm really hard not to believe when I have it and I've seen it. It's really hard for me to believe that something can, also make it without having all this, what we as human beings do have.
Okay, Dusan, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I just like some comment with my colleague. Yes, I also have an idea that in the near future we should have labels or stands in the libraries or in bookstores, artificial made literature and I don't know, bio or natural or handwritten literature. Yes.
Without GCO, yeah.
GCO, RECO or vegan, whatever. Because in this year in the Olympic Games we have several this kind of situation. This famous Turkish boxer, because we have a problem with this gender. Is it man or is it woman? But in the near future we will have a problem. We will won't able to make a distinction. Is it made with artificial intelligence or is it natural intelligence or what kind of? It will be some mixture of it. But as a human, as a community, or we should make this clear distinction. This is I made or in part of in after whatever, but in the same time as I don't know, maybe this kind of handwritten or human writing poetry will be expensive. Maybe will cost 10,000 euros. Will cost one poem. Really? Why not? Because a few days ago I read some large American publishing house is started to regulate the production of AI generated novels, because they have every day 100, 150 or 200 new novels, new titles, and they absolutely said that it will be destroy the market. Who will read all those novels? And it might be cost only 5 cents or 1 cent. So nobody will keep buy it or read it. We don't need so. But yes, I think that that kind of literature that we all still believe in it is made not just from language but also from feelings and whatever. And also if you like to have a picture like Picasso did, but which Picasso? Young Picasso, old Picasso, dead Picasso, drunk Picasso? Yes.
This is the trick. In the reception end, in the receiver end, is where the mistake is happening often, and at the business end. In the meantime, there's this poor writer who better died. Look, you reminded me of a beautiful anecdote, because just recently it so happened that some photo competition for AI photography that there was a big scandal because there was a guy who entered a human-made photography, and he was disqualified. It was a big scandal. Somebody was fired, and I found that to be beautiful, like a negative. There was this dead Frenchman called Marcel Duchamp. This was in year 1913 that he came up with this whole pissoir, this idea of ready-made. This is a situation where you have an object that was not intended to be of artistic relevance, but by the act of being chosen and placed in the context of art, it gains artistic relevance. The same happens with found text 70 years ago. Guys, we are talking again about stuff that has been revolutionary 70 years ago. This entire grandiose movement of avant-garde, post-war concrete and visual poetry, for instance, was investigating this whole field of paraliterary phenomena and everything, the cut-ups, everything was done. And we have understood that artistic and literary relevance is much broader than what book binders and associations of writers think is literature. There is a grandiose concept of art of text that has beautiful gravity. Wonderful people are doing fantastic things that are not behaving like a novel, that are not organizing sentences by beauty towards the narrative end in a linear arc. And what is coming out of that text vomit machine, the ChatGPT, you can argue can be perceived as relevant. It's just that it is a wrong dilemma whether I can identify that it was written by an eco hand, by a human, without using electricity and ever shaving, and this is why I started, and I was hoping we ended that avenue with a metal quill, because it is exactly the same thing, we're dehumanizing the experience. Art is not just about emotion transfer. Art is creating meaning. It's a useful, broader expression. And the second part of that sentence is our job as artists is to spread the virus of freedom. We are cherry picking in the history. We are finding our idols, Vlado Martek, if you want, or Marcel Duchamp, and you are hoping you are a good conveyor of the same type of freedom. And then, in parallel, technology is kind of developing. There's a political economy to that. I'm not going to go into this if nobody wants me to, but it's bad news. It's about accepting reality, and there you go. I think this is a clear situation. You just have to be courageous and to say, go away. If a publisher has a problem and they want to publish cheaper slave labor by machines instead of you, change a publisher. Go to hell. This is the sweetest sentence I could say about those people. I publish books. Algorithmic poetry too, great stuff. I think it's good. People like it. Humans read it and say, this is great shit. It was done deliberately with GPT. But it is done in a way that tool is a part of my pipeline. There's tons of decisions that stay mine. My name is on the cover of the book, not because I'm friends with the publisher, mafia, but because the entirety of the artistic process is seriously controlled by me. I even sometimes use Word for Windows. Is this allowed? May I save it? With all these autocompletes and stuff like that. Come on, man. Use your tools, but know your tools.
Okay, so we are using our tools. Mr. Keck, I will need you to answer me something, because a while ago, I think that Dusan said that he asked who he is to the ChatGPT, and it answered with, I don't know how to call it. Is it a lie, or is it just something? But what it said wasn't true. So I'm always considering, because I saw some on the internet, some people always posted, I asked ChatGPT that, and then it answered this, and it was a wrong answer. And I was wondering, because you said it's a parrot, the AI is a parrot. Doesn't this show that it's that it can lie, or that it has a limited imagination? Because even if he doesn't, why doesn't he just copy from the Wikipedia and said, this is it, this is all I know? Why does it invent some answers? To me, that is the sign of, I would say that the minute the Sphinx starts to lie to me, that is the sign of the intelligence. Wouldn't you say that? No. Okay.
Yeah, well, one thing to know is that, so to really understand, ChatGPT is just one of many, many models. So when we are talking about artificial intelligence, we are talking about hundreds and hundreds of models. And we know how to make them. So here in Slovenia. And we do that. So the process goes like this. You have really a lot of text. You have some algorithms. Then you create a model and then you fine-tune it. Which means that you put some special knowledge in it. It can be medicine, it can be whatever. And the part that we are just doing now is called instruction following datasets. So when you get the answer from ChatGPT, it means that somebody in OpenAI in Silicon Valley created a list of questions and answers, which is like tens of thousands of such datasets. And what says there is somebody asked, is there God? And there would be the answer which you got. So it's basically your answer was human created. But it's not completely controlled because the model is big and nobody actually really knows what will produce if you ask many other questions. But this is how we control like hate speech answers and things like that. So we are just doing that for Slovene now. So if somebody would ask in Slovene our model something like, I don't know, I hate somebody, LGBT community or whatever, it will answer what we gave it there. So it's not so if you take a closer look, it's more understandable why these answers come from models. That's one part. But what was the original question that you asked? Really?
If it can lie to you, because
lie. So lying is
because it said Dusan Sharada is I don't know, and then he put some.
I remember what I wanted to say. So one thing to know is also that we are really at the quite early stages of this process.
75 years.
So first, these companies and also us, you make a model and then you see what comes out. So then you find out, also the Silicon Valley big tech, okay, it lies, it hallucinates, this is useless. So now there is really intensive process going on of how to control that. In the sense that it will, so there will be knowledge put in the model and it will always know where the information comes from. And it will be able to assess how reliable is that information. In the sense that it comes from Wikipedia, basically probably okay. It comes from, I don't know, New York Times, Delo, so some controlled medium. It will give it higher rate how much it hallucinates. And this is not the end. So this is just the, whenever you look at something that doesn't work, it means that somebody works on making it better. In the same sense that you said about translation, so machine translation systems. So yeah, 5 years ago it was rubbish and now it's good. And it's also important to know that the biggest problem that those companies who try to make machine translation system is that they will learn from machine translated text. So the The most, I would say,
So the quality declines. Proven fact.
yeah, sure, of course. The quality declines. So what happens now? I would say the most pitiful job that a translator can do is what is done now, because the companies hire translation companies to translate text, and they have to ensure that it's human translated. But nobody will see it. It will not be anywhere. It's just in the for this company. Nobody will see it. So it's kind of. But this is what is happening now with translation, and I think you mentioned. So somebody mentioned the Babelfish and stuff. So. It was like a month ago, I think. I tried a system where I just uploaded some video that was in English. So I recorded myself in English, and it produced perfect, not just translation, but my facial expression speaking French. And the translation was perfect. My facial expression was perfect. It's like I was. So it's not future. It's already now. Those things. So yeah, I mean, this is where we are.
So for the last question for all of you, is maybe does anybody of you believe in utopia? Because we talked, Jagna, I think, that mentioned some kind of a utopia, that Babelfish, that this kind of stuff looks like something from Star Trek. I love Star Trek, and I think that this is the future I would want for myself. Because we heard that Monica said, I think that that AI could ensure us that we don't have to do some menial jobs, that we don't have to, if you have to translate something, I don't know, something that comes with the refrigerator, some booklet, you don't have to translate, you put it through AI, but you control it, you see if everything is all right. It's some kind of a human supervision, and then the company will still pay you the same, I guess, as it paid you before that. Could we ensure that is the answer? I don't know, public funding, because most of these AI machines are Silicon Valley based, are private companies, and I don't think that this is a safe environment for the AI. Yes, do anybody of you believe in utopia, that we can help with AI, and that we could, that AI or robots could do like we used to dream, those jobs that are hard for us, those physical jobs, and we could, write poetry and philosophize and dream and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't think anybody has a happy face on, so yeah.
Can I just add that? Then I'll shut up. There are some things to add. So one thing to keep in mind is prompting will be important. So that's the human part of creation of something, because the model does what it does, but then a person instructs the model. And if you think about, so we are looking at stuff like making your own model. So let's say that you are, a writer, a translator. So you will add your works to the model. It will be just your little model, personally, yeah. And you will be able to prompt it in the sense that, okay, it will create text based on what was put in, and if it's your text, it will look like your text, as I said before. So, but the result would be actually the result of prompting. So you will say, write me something in my style on, I don't know, roses and whatever. And this is what we'll do. So the act of creation, let's say, is the prompt. And if I just go back to what Vuk said, I think, so it's really important to understand that it's just a tool. My opinion is it's transformative in the way that was described what happened with printing press. And also, if you think about, I don't know, if you go back to the beginning of the 20th century, if you remember what, I don't know, Walter Benjamin Adorno wrote about, okay, so now art is reproduced and it's the death of music and so on and so on. So it's kind of like that moment. So I think we know that something will change. We don't know exactly how. So record companies, selling of music in very different ways than it was possible before in the 19th century, and so on. But I think it would be quite personal, in the sense what I described before. So you will have a tool which will be able to produce something which was not possible before, and you will be basically able to control it. And what we have to do is to make legislative context, and this is what we are doing now in Europe. And it's also important to know, and that's why I raised my hand, is that in Europe there is quite an important action which with the goal to get where Chinese and American companies are. So it's quite probable that in a few years we'll have open models which will be not made in such opaque way, so we will know exactly what is in, what went in, so it will be possible to say what will come out.
Okay.
And this is basically financed by European Commission now, and this is what we do. Okay. For all languages, European languages. Yeah, and now.
Okay, Jernej, you're just gonna jump in? Let's go. Yeah, Jernej, you're on. What do you think? Do you believe, like you said, because you started with something like that, you can translate, the machine can translate instead of you, but then you could, supervise it. But still, of course, you should get paid enough to survive. I think that this is the question, because we talk about, I don't know, there was changes in the past that are similar to now when people were afraid of technology, but those technologies still cost a lot of people their jobs and were transformed. So do you believe in a better future with AI or whatever?
No, not actually. I mean, that I was just giving an example with translation of something that sounds kind of utopian. No, I'm quite pessimistic about everything. I think in the best case scenario, AI is going to remain a tool, and it will, I guess, free us from a lot of tedious tasks. Though I think that even in this best case scenario, a lot of jobs are going to be lost, more than during the Industrial Revolution, for example. I mean, if the development progresses far enough, I think almost every sort of intellectual work will be done better and faster by a machine. So these jobs will, I don't know, probably be abolished. Except perhaps some really high-level intellectual thinking, I don't know. But no, actually what I expect is that we get to artificial general intelligence, AGI, in about 10 to 20 years, and then we all die.
Do you have maybe not a mortal solution? Or,
Of course, I'm pessimistic too. I think that the utopia was finished yesterday or 2 days ago, 3 days ago. There is no future. Like, yes, of course, because simple question. You have a small kid. You give them the machine that translates all the languages. Why you should learn him or teach him a languages? Why? You have a virtual reality that can imagine 1,000 times better in multi extra high resolution all the mystics and miracles of the universe. Why you should have any sense to pay 10,000 euros and to go to travel? And in the end, if you can take a poem for nothing, it costs nothing. You just take it from the menu, and you stay in front of grave. You lay down the nearest. What you will do? Stay in silence or listen to AI generated poem? This is the question.
Vuk?
You know, humans are very stupid, and I think that's a big part of the answer, how the future is going to look, because it is easy to be dystopian about the development of these hostile technologies that belong to hostile humans and are developed for their benefit, not ours. But sometimes stupidity saves us, and our lack of intelligence and collective wisdom. And you know, for instance, in these days, if you want to really talk about AI, this just reminded me of a fantastic cliche. You might remember, if you're old enough, in 1945, we were all using the phrase "never again." You remember that joke? And now we're observing something that everybody, all analytics, call the AI genocide going on in Palestine right now, in occupied Palestine. There, AI is being used really, and that's a serious application. What we are doing here is beautiful. My book of poetry is glorious. My mother loves me, and that's pretty much it. I'm still trying to penetrate further market. What is important and relevant here is who are the new players. You see, 25 years ago, there was this big thing with social media, and they helped us. They've done a great thing for humanity. They have liberated us from these old, already long forgotten categories of truth, trust, and democracy. We don't have those anymore, thanks to these beautiful people. And now, suddenly, us as humanity, we're supposed to trust those same guys. Yes, they're all men. I know you like this sentence. With the same names, that they're going to now self-regulate with AI. That's not gonna fly. What might save us is the stupidity. There's this wonderful, actually creative, analytic Belarusian, lives in America, Evgeny Morozov. You might know that name, maybe, no? He writes a lot about technology and society, and he wrote a beautiful text not so long ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, in Boston Review, about how massively unintelligent the development of AI actually is from a business sense. There are these communists that I appreciate, Goldman Sachs, it's a band from America, they do deal with money. They wrote a fantastically penetrating critique of AI as a business that cannot take off because it is eating money, not giving benefits. And if such a player gives you that kind of a note, trust me, investors are going to follow. What is going on in US, as opposed to Manhattan Project or Apollo Project that were all state financed and organized and centralized, now you have an arms race between several sociopaths that are owning technological companies and promising life on Mars. That stupidity is what I was thinking about to begin with, and I think that the arms race between these crumbling companies is going to be, the death of one of those or few of those is going to be the first actual tangible result of AI revolution. And what is going to happen with art? Yes, if that utopia you were interested in, there's this whole joke in the cliche. Yeah, we were promised by Karel Čapek, Rabotnik, there's going to be these machines doing work instead of us, and we're going to be writing poetry, but it's actually true that now the AI is writing poetry and we are translating, physically working and feeding that machine. You know, there's some sort of a trick here, and it's called, I'm sorry to say, capitalism, you know, right? So we have social relations, and my final phrase, it's the thing with which we begin and end every lecture in every faculty for decades, is that all technological development is an amplifier of existing social relations. And we are now getting that. But I'm not going to go political on you. You don't have to worry your beautiful heads with that.
I also love Star Trek a lot, but I also love Black Mirror. So you can, you know, put these things. If you were not watching the Black Mirror, I think it's a great way to introduce yourself with possibility. What can go wrong with all this future ahead of us, or mainly some of this future is already, as we said here. But I think it is important, yes, to know that, as I said, if we are not ready, then, I mean, things like this will develop. Future will develop in many, many ways. Maybe we will even, you know, we didn't believe in physics in a lot of things. But when we put our minds to something, and it was very not money manipulated, for example, we have this question of nuclear fission and nuclear fusion, we somehow, you know, poorly invest, we do a bit, but nuclear fusion is something, you know, that we develop very slowly, but we have this huge, you know, big players in field of course, nuclear, that is already energy that is accessible based on fission, and also we have, you know, fight between another side, and that is fossil fuels. So who cares about nuclear fusion, because it's no one's, you know, intention now that it is accessible. And I really believe that if we could put, you know, all the brightest minds of our era, and there is a lot of them, to this problem and try to solve it, we would be very fast. We would be in the, you know, green energy world very, very, very soon. But again, we are in the age where capitalism leads the way, so it's very hard to understand why are we not doing things that would be good for us. I think that also when it comes, I'm very optimistic in concerns of like, but not like, I think that we will be eaten by the sun in 5 billion years, so, you know, we will vanish either way, or we will, you know, think of technology that will somehow, but then again, we will not have sun that will, you know, it's a very complex question, but, you know, it's not something that will not happen. Everyone will die here if we don't think of technology that will save us. And I don't know, it should be very powerful, not for the sun not to burn us when it grows very big, to the red giant. But I think that the human race, even though we are struggling and we are not, you know, learning the lessons we should, I still somehow do have faith, and I'm not sure how to, you know, get there, but I would always open this space, you know. I think that a Star Trek society, what we have universal translator there, I think, yes, universal translator is also there, you know, so they've seen it all. I think it can be accessible, but we have to have in mind this. I think that a lot of things, when we believe in each other, not only in ourselves, it's not about that people exist in correlation, you know, we are depending on our relation to others. We have to see and perceive the other. We have to perceive the children. We have to raise better human beings. I think that is also the part of the equation. Our future is depending on what kind of human beings are we going to raise to, you know, come after us. We will be gone, you know, very soon. And somehow we are still struggling with this sight, you know, in the future. I think that is the problem. We are constantly thinking about my generation of my children, you know, maybe 100 years is, you know, possible to imagine for us, and we are not dreaming about the thousands of years. And maybe that's the thing, you know, maybe things will be hard again. Maybe, I mean, climate change is here. I don't know how we will survive the next 50 years without with artificial intelligence. But maybe it can help us to make some solutions, because I deeply also believe that this process that we are now deeply in can be somehow, I don't know, maybe we can save ourselves. I think that we are going to experience far more different world that we can imagine in 50 years. And the intelligence is not the thing that should bother us this way. I think either way we will need it to help us, to protect ourselves. So yes, I kind of hope that we will start learning the lessons that we should learn, because I don't know what else there is, you know, to look for. I don't know, I am, you know, kind of, yes, believing still, but we have to believe, all of us, that that is achievable and make every day a step toward. We need to talk about that. We need to talk with ourselves and to start sharing more and to kind of, yes, get back to deep. I'm a millennial generation and we have a huge problem with language. It completely starts to, you know, go away. It's something, I think everyone is dealing with this problem, and not to mention the youngest generations. We are very superficial because of this, you know, internet. And there are generations that are going to be there with internet from the year one, maybe even 6 months. I don't know how now goes with that. I think they give them, you know, phones when they start to open their eyes. So we are going to, you know, we need to deal with ourselves. We need to grow up in order to deal with things that will happen. And that, yes, the technology will be better. I don't know what we will, you know, do with this ideas of living somewhere else. Maybe that is achievable too. I know that when it comes to physics, yes, it's very, you know, strict rules of physics, but every now and then we discover something that is just, you know, making the border further. And that's the thing, you make the border further, you don't break the rule, but somehow you realize it wasn't fully the rule, as Newton and Einstein. And that's always the thing, because we don't know everything. So, I don't know, I will close with hope, so.
Your wish.
No, let's close with hope. Thank you for being so patient and to stay with us. I hope that I know that we didn't answer anything, but I hope that we asked the right questions and that we like Monica said, we need to discuss this. I think that these are the questions of our age, and I think that these questions should be at least attempted to be answered. For today, this is it. I welcome you again to the Vilenica Festival. Tomorrow we'll be in Trst or Trieste and in Sežana, so probably we won't see you there, but if you are in Ljubljana on Thursday,